All right. Recently, I had somebody visit my house on a Shabbos, and they kind of were looking through our Sfarim, our books in our house, and they were like, I wish I had a room where I had a lot of Sfarim. He said he started getting to all these questions of how he could learn better. Basically, like, what can I do to learn on a consistent basis? So that's like the best question to ask me. Like I think about that a lot. Like I have a lot of suggestions. So I started like offering all these suggestions. Like seriously, maybe like 5 of them. Like I actually went downstairs. I brought up like a Musar, a work of like Jewish Musar, which is like Jewish morality and ethics. Like this one helped me learn in a more serious way. And then like I started to say, you could go to Daf Yomi, you get with a group, and the group together creates a. Then I like took a break, and I was just like, do you study at all? Like, do you have any involvement with learning? And he says, not currently. So I was like, I think the best way to actually get on the track for learning is to start learning, like to do a little bit. Just do a little bit, a little. Sometimes you do a little, you can end up doing a lot. Sometimes when you have all these big plans, like my earlier versions of trying to help him, nothing comes out of it. And I think this message comes out really clear, in my opinion, from our Parsha, from a verse that garnered a lot of attention from our commentators. The verse says, last week's Parsha, V'Avram zaken ba beyamim, v'Hashem berachet Avram bakol. Avram was zaken, he was old, and he was ba beyamim. Okay, so on one hand he was old, he was also coming in days. So the commentators ask, why you need both of these statements? Just say he was old. And so there's different explanations. Some say it's ba beyamim, like he was old, but he arrived at the end of his days. Therefore he need to find a wife for his son. The Zohar says that he was old and he arrived at that old age with biyamim, with every one of his days, like lived to the fullest. He came with his days, like he was carrying his days with him. Each day lived to the fullest. But perhaps we could say offer different interpretation of this. Ba biyamim, it could be that each day he was ba. He came, he arrived, he did a little bit, he did something. Avram each day did something. And through that, he was able to slowly build himself up and become who he was. Now you can ask me, Rabbi, how do you could say every one of these leaders did something each day. So there's another source in the Zohar which says explicitly, Avram did not come closer to Hashem through one day or at one time, but his good deeds brought him closer every day as he moved from one level to another. So there's at least a statement on him that he did this like daily, adding on a little bit each day. I think also another strong source for the fact that he did this is that there's nobody else we have that I can think about who we have lists of their trials, right? Avram has 10 trials, and his final trial was when he arrived at the binding of Isaac. But each stage he is listed, and each one built him to the place that he was able to finally pass the big trial, which is the binding of Isaac. So we have this 2 statements at least, Avram, like he's taking things a step at a time, doing a little bit at a time. I think from here we perhaps can read the verse. Ba biyamim, each day, each yom, he was doing a little bit more. And through that he was able to build himself up into the leader and to the great persona that we know, Avram Avinu. So that's my bracha for us, a suggestion actually, and a bracha, that we think about that. Like I had this book that I wanted to read since I was in yeshiva, since the age 18, and I just never got around to reading it. And I'm not only talking about learning. I'm giving you an example of learning. And so, at one point last year, I was like, I want to learn this book. But in my head, it was always like something, like this big project. So I'm going to do like a page or 2 a day. And Baruch Hashem, I did a page or 2 a day, and I finished the book. And it felt so good. That was maybe 25 years in the making, that thing. So it could be learning, but it doesn't have to be learning. It could be anything. Nothing's really off limits. In our heads, it's off limits. Like, maybe you're not going to be the best in it, but you can do a little bit of it. It could be davening with a little bit more kavana. It could be lighting candles. It could be lighting candles with more kavana. It could be making brachas making more brachas. Everything we have access to. We might not be able to do it in its complete fashion, but we could do a little bit. So that's my bracha, my suggestion, to try to find something you could do a little bit of. Ba biyamim. The message of Yamim, Avram did that. Ba biyamim, he's coming each day, and through that, he was able to have some continuity. Biyamim. So we start small, and hopefully we can build it up, and we eventually be ba biyamim. Many days in a row, we'll be able to do it. Thank you. And